Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. I trust that you're doing well and staying safe. And if you're new here, I'm Jim. It's great to meet you. I make tutorial videos here every week showing you how I edit my photos using different software products. Today is Luminar 4 again, and I posted a few photos about a month ago on Facebook. And this was a little group of photos that I took on some of the city streets in Reykjavik, Iceland when I was walking around. The landscapes are the real reason that people go to Iceland, including me, but I'm not going to miss a chance to shoot a city because I love it. In fact, shooting a city is like here for me, and everybody's like, oh, landscapes, like it blows it away. It's pretty close for me. I love shooting city streets that much, and over the years, I've kind of just found things about it that I like, and I do things a certain way. Anyway, a couple of my friends that I made on the trip had asked me and made some comments on these photos and just said, hey, I like the way you do this, blah, blah, blah. So I thought I'd make this video. So this video is really about how I shoot and edit my, what I call street photos. I'm not getting into a debate as to whether or not this qualifies as street photography in the traditional sense. I call it street photography, but hey, we're all friends here. Call it whatever you like. If you don't like the term, call it cityscapes, call it urban photography. I don't care. But what I do care about is editing the photos and taking the photos. So let me show you the first photo. Here it is. This is my edited shot. And what I want to do, I've already got the everything. This is edited, as I said. So all the filters are already on. I'll show you how the photo started, which is there, and how it ended, which is here. So for me, this is about how I think about and shoot the photo and then how I edit it. So when I'm walking around in a city, I'm looking at a couple of things and things that catch my eye. The first thing is, of course, light. And I prefer to shoot cities about this time of day, which is kind of blue hour. Now, if there's a stunning, amazing sunset in the distance, I'm really happy about that. And at the same time, I'm kind of sad that I'm not in a place where there's a good landscape view and I'm getting that stunning sunset. So when I'm in a city, my preference is really blue hour, and the reason why is exactly what you see in this photo. All the store lights are on and they kind of have an orangey yellow glow, and blue hour is blue, and blue and yellow are on opposite sides of the color spectrum and are very complementary, and I just think it goes together so well. And so that's what I'm thinking about. Number one is light, and how the light of the stores mixes or blends or really complements the light of the scene. Secondly, I'm thinking about lines and angles and things like that really capture my eye, because what I want to do is get a photo that kind of leads the viewer through the photo. I'm not really doing a lot of close-up. I do some of these things, but I don't really do a whole lot of it. And that is, I don't do a lot of close-up where you've got a lot of blurred out background and stuff. I shot this wide open in low light. Let me look at it. F2, ISO 640. So F2, but I'm focused down the street. I'm really focused like kind of in the center of the photo. So that's kind of like focusing at infinity, and even at F2, most of it's, in pretty decent focus. And that's kind of one of the things I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to give it some depth. I'm not trying to make it just focus on the person right in front of me and then everything's really blurry. I kind of like to have some depth because, again, I want to lead the viewer's eye through the photo. So that's the other thing, is I'm setting up at an angle where I'm getting the edge of this gift shop, and then you kind of start there and then you kind of go that way and you follow the street. And the next thing I'm doing is waiting for a person, or in this case, two people, to kind of walk through that scene for me, because I think the viewer's eye is going to follow that person through the scene and kind of look where they're looking, right? That's kind of what you would do if you're standing here. You'd kind of be looking that way probably. So those are all the kind of things that I'm keeping in mind, and those are the kinds of things I'm trying to accentuate when I'm editing the photo. So let me just show you. In the light tool, these are really basic edits. There's nothing special about this. I do a little bit of temperature and tint. I do some contrast. I pull down the highlights. Let me show you the base photo again. Really, really blue. Now much different. And again, I'm trying to draw the eye with the edits that I'm doing. Next was AI Enhance. You can see what that did. It took it from that to that. So it gave it a nice little pop. Structure. This is a city. This is all gritty kind of stuff except for the sky. Some positive AI structure adds a little bit of crispiness, and I think that works. Sometimes, not all the times, I will also go into Detail Enhancer and Sharpener and apply that with a mask, a brush, to mask it in selectively. I did not in this case. Color. Here's the thing I do with color. What I believe is the color helps make the image, but you don't want to dominate or overwhelm the viewer with too much color and too much saturation. So I rarely use saturation. I'll often use vibrance. Vibrance gives a nice pop to some of the non-dominant colors. But what I do not want is every color to be saturated and over the top. You can see I took the blues down here. Let me show you the before. Really blue, and in fact, too blue. And now less blue. And I still want some blue because, as I said at the beginning, the blue and the yellow I think are complementary. And in this case, they're on opposite sides of the photo. It's like yellow on that side with the store and blue over on this side with the rest of the city. But vibrance gives a nice little kick to some of the other colors, like some of the reds and greens that you see down there, the orange on the sign, that sort of thing. And then in the advanced settings, I come in here and I take the saturation of the blue to the negative. If I didn't, you would have a photo that looked like that, which to me, way too much blue. It's just a blue, it just looks like I saturated everything, and I personally don't like that. So I came in here and I think I was at -40. You know, I mean, you could even go a little bit less negative, maybe -30 or something, but I had it at -40, and I like that. It's still blue, but it's kind of gray. It's a bit more subtle blue. You can tell that it's twilight, kind of blue hour, but I think it still works and kind of pops. Then I came in with Landscape Enhancer to get golden hour, and that's really popping those warm tones. Let me turn that off, and you can see there it is. The warm tones in the I was going to say classroom, in that store are just kind of muted, and I think this really helps them pop. Also, that's kind of where I want your eye to start, so it's brighter and warmer, and warm colors draw the eye, like reds and stuff. They kind of draw the eye, so pop and bright, so brighter and warmer, it's going to draw your eye, at least for me. Draw your eye there, and then you kind of follow it through, and you kind of follow the people as they're going down the street. And that's the last thing, is if I turn off the vignette filter, you can see here it is before. And for me, the vignette filter is about two things. It's controlling a little bit of the light, and it's definitely controlling where you focus your effort, or not your effort, but your vision, your view into the photo as a viewer. I'm trying to think of the viewer as I'm editing and taking these photos. So there it is without the vignette tool or filter. And there it is with kind of collapsing the edges a little bit and brightening the center, which you do down here with inner light. Do some feathering and roundness to kind of shape it, but that's really how I do it. All basic stuff on the Essentials tab, but there it is before, blue, kind of muted, colors are kind of washed out, all that stuff, and after. And there it is, a sliding. So let me back out of this and go find another photo, which I have. These are a bunch of photos from Reykjavik. Here it is, this one. I really like this one a lot. And this also plays into kind of doing the same thing I just talked about. I wanted to kind of shape the light. I want to draw the viewer's eye and that sort of thing. So let me show you. That's how the photo started. And here's how the photo ended. So I did a few key things here. Again, light tool. Same kind of thinking about the photo, by the way. I've got a light source over here, which is Joe and the Juice. I have that sign. I want to make sure I get all of that in the photo. I want something that kind of anchors me on the left side, which is these flower pots. And what I really wanted was some people walking away from me, kind of towards and along that orange diagonal line. But those people were not doing that, and there was no one else really on the street. You can see it's empty that way. It was empty behind me. This was February in Reykjavik, so it wasn't exactly a busy time of year, I guess. So I didn't get a person walking, but I have that orange line, and I really want to draw that. And, you know, fortunately, those people were there, because I think that line really draws you into the photo, and it makes you want to look at that shop over there with the striped awning and the stripe on the building. Hey, that's interesting. What's going on over there? There are people there, and that line kind of draws you. And also that line is a bright kind of yellowy orange, which I think helps kind of pop a little bit and lead you that direction. So anyway, contrast, highlights, once again, AI Enhance. There it is before AI Enhance, and then here it is after. Not a massive change, and that's okay. Structure, once again, I pop a little bit of structure in the photo. Color, again, vibrance, but not saturation, because if I use the saturation slider, I feel like I'm gonna dominate the photo with too much color. I don't know if I did any edits here, but it would make sense to come in here with this orange or yellow and bump up the luminance just to see if that pops that. Yeah, it does. See how that does that? Take that down. The light in Joe and the Juice goes down. That line on the street goes down. But if I pop that luminance, they all really pop. I should have done that before I started editing this photo. Let me try luminance here. That does it a little bit more with the yellow, and I really like that. Actually, though, that's getting a little too much. I might take the saturation down, bump up the luminance. But what I've done is brighten that line, and that's a line that's drawing the viewer into the photo. I don't know. Yeah, I took the luminance of the blue down. I know what I did there. Take a look at this before. There it is before and after. I took the luminance down because I'm trying to darken the sky. Looking at the photo before, the sky is pretty bright and the foreground's pretty dark. A typical exposure really anywhere, right? The foreground's darker, sky is brighter because sky is often where the light source is, at least before it's completely dark out. So I was taking the blue luminance down to help me darken that sky and make it a little bit more blue hour looking. So let me show you the whole color tool again. There it is before and after. I'm liking that. Landscape enhancer, again, just hit it with golden hour. And then over here, I went to adjustable gradient. Let me turn that off and see what the difference is in the photo. It's pretty substantial. If you look at the sky, really that left diagonal, it's really bright, and now it's quite a bit darker. So if I show you my orientation, you could probably guess from the changes. I slid the orientation into a diagonal, and then once I did that, you can see I took the exposure in the top down quite a bit, pulled down the warmth to make it bluer, pulled down the vibrance to make it a little duller, because I don't want everybody distracted by color and light over there. I'm focused on this side of the diagonal, which is the bottom of the adjustable gradient. So I actually think what I'll do is actually pull the exposure up a little bit here. So this happens to me. I edit a photo and I'm super happy with it. I share it. I'm like, I love it. And then I come back and I start playing with it and decide I could have done a whole lot better. So that's what I'm doing now. You're kind of watching this live, both with the changes here in the luminance of the oranges and yellows to really pop that, and now also with the change in the adjustable gradient to increase the exposure in this bottom side of the diagonal. So I'm liking that better. I also added a little bit of warmth because these city streets, they're kind of gray, and if you really keep that blue active in those areas, they'll take on a blue hue really quickly, and I don't want the blue to mess up my yellowy orange stripe because that's my thing. That's like driving you down there. It dead ends into that pole, which is a similar color. You look at that bicycle. Basically, this is saying, hey, stay out. This is a pedestrian zone. At least I assume. Maybe it's bikes and pedestrians, but no cars. And it draws you into the photos. So that's kind of what was going on there. Let me turn off adjustable gradient again. There it is before and after. Massive difference in the photo. And that's really it. Adjustable gradient and then some basic stuff on the Essentials tab. And I took a photo that was, kind of drab, to be honest. There it is before and there it is after. And I think made a huge difference in the photo. One more time, total before and total after. So there's a couple examples, both in terms of how I edit the photos, but also my thinking about how I shoot them and what I'm trying to capture. And why and what I use to kind of frame my shots. Some signage, some stuff in the road. I'm looking for lines and things that will draw the viewer's attention. And while I'm not a street photographer in the traditional sense, or maybe the historic sense where you run up and you take a photo of somebody right in their face, I could honestly never do that. If somebody did that to me, I'd slap their camera or slap them. And I just wouldn't want to do that to people. So what I call street photography, I'm taking photos of streets. People are in those, and I want to use people to help accentuate it. Like in the other photo, I didn't really get the opportunity in this one. But regardless, I took the shot because I liked it, and it had other elements that I really liked. So that's some thoughts and some edits in terms of how I approach street photography, or at least what I call street photography. Feel free to disagree with my definition. But that's it, and hopefully it helps answer the questions, because I get these questions sometimes, and then when I got them on that Facebook post, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a video about it, because this is something I like to do, is this kind of photography. As I said, it's pretty close to being on par with shooting amazing landscapes. I like, honestly, nothing more than going to foreign cities and just taking photos as I wander the streets. It's just super interesting to me. So Hope that helps, my friends. Hope that answers some questions. Justin, Chris, thank you for asking. Hope everybody's well out there. You guys stay safe. Take care. I'll see you soon, and adios.